Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about my 2020 Yelp Elite Squad Badge, Yelp Elite Squad Member, my year summary. So chronologically treating this a bit of as a summary, so like 31 December of the year for the given Yelp Elite Squad Badge or member. And so on 18 December 2020, Yelp published a Yelp most prolific elites in North America list, and I was number 29. So this is kind of like thinking of, I could have kept writing reviews for the 2020 year, but I didn't. I actually published a review that day. So the point being is it spans 1 January to 31 December, which might not be true for the rankings for Yelp Elite, that most prolific, that might cover a little bit of a shorter time period. I don't know how they put those lists together exactly, and what the exact date cutoffs are. I would guess it's like 1 January to some, you know, maybe the first week of December or something like that kind of thing. But I don't actually know. Okay. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about my approach to writing and publishing for the 2020 year. So I wrote and published 300 reviews during the 2020 year, 298 of which remain in their original form. One review was deleted by Yelp in October/November of that year, 2020, and one review was changed to a review update in 2021 after 2 business pages were merged. Okay. So if one wanted to consider that disruptive editing or like an equivalent there, or like an age restriction by YouTube on a YouTube video, it's kind of like the same thing. Like if a review is deleted. So the one that was deleted was, I had the same review on, I didn't know which one was the right business, so they deleted one of those reviews. It was like, okay, in the future, just choose one and don't put it on both, right? It was the only business I've done that for. Same as the one that was merged. There were kind of 2 business pages for the Ballard locks that were slightly different. So I was like, okay, I'll write a different review for each one since I got this, you know, like got this other one deleted, or I'm not certain about this other one. I don't know if it had gotten deleted yet. I don't think it had, but I'm not certain about it. But either way I approached it as, because I don't know about this other one, maybe I'll approach this one differently, which was a good choice because it got merged instead of deleted. So it got changed into a review update. So that's why my Yelping and how I approach writing reviews has changed, is some of that stuff does happen. And I'm like, I'm not certain how to do it in the first place, but I don't want like the same writing out there twice. So I was actually grateful that Yelp did delete one of them. I was like, thank you, because I didn't know. And so my approach now is just choose one. And if I don't know which one it is, if there's like multiple pages, then don't write the review. So that kind of thing. But that wasn't, and that started developing that approach of, I don't know, and I'm not going to do it again because I don't know, and let's see if Yelp acts on it. That started developing in the 2020 year because I did write and publish 300 reviews, right? So there's a perk in doing a bunch of reviews is I can be like, in cases where I'm not certain of how to approach a situation, I can kind of diversify how I approach that problem and potentially come up with solutions. And so I published my first review of the year in 2020 on Friday, 17 April 2020, and my last review of the year on Friday, 18 December 2020, which is actually kind of, so if we think about that, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I published 300, I wrote and published 300 reviews in 8 months. So that's pretty good. If we projected that forward, what would be 450 reviews in a year? I'm not there for this year, but I got a late start, and I started doing it in that quantity because the Trump-Pence administration, so President Donald Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, they issued the first stimulus checks of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I was like, I have money. I'm gonna go spend it in the United States of America. So I went to a bunch of places new, and I went to a bunch of places I've been to before but hadn't been in like a decade or two, you know. So it was kind of fun in that sense of, I went all the way out to the Olympic Peninsula. I went to Central Washington. It was really a Washington year, and this is a Washington year too, but I don't have the stimulus check money, so and they haven't issued new stimulus checks and that kind of thing. So I've been kind of staying closer to the Puget Sound. Be more cost efficient. We'll see if I get one adventure to the mountains in this year. I don't know. Kind of thing. Cascade Mountains. No, not the Olympic Mountains. That would be a bunch of gas and or a ferry ride. I mean, ferry rides can be expensive. So, not my cards this year. Possibly. Maybe we'll get one in. Maybe, yeah, we'll see. And maybe we'll try and get that in this week. The problem with the Cascade Mountains is early November, they start and this actually came into play in the 2020 years. The first snow of the year, so my last time over the mountains in 2020 was in the Cascade Mountains, was in November. And the weekend, I went to visit my step-aunt and my uncle in Kashmir. And the weekend I came back, it was a Veterans Day. I spent Veterans Day 2020 with them, because my uncle was in the United States of America Marines. And so I was racing the first snow on the passes on my way back. Like the snow clouds were coming in and I was like, make it. Because I was like, if I don't make it, I get to pull out my tire chains and, you know, there's accidents for the first snow. And I got home and it dumped that night. And so if I don't want to use chains or if I want to be really safe and stuff like that, just like, since I don't have that driving experience, stay on this, and then especially if I want to go exploring, there's a lot of snow on that side of the mountains in the winter, so even if the highway is clear, the smaller roads to go adventuring places might have 3 feet of snow on it, you know, kind of thing. So there's a pretty staunch cutoff of if I did want to go over this year, and the same in 2020 is early November at the latest is kind of the cutoff there. And that would be the same to Bellingham. Bellingham can get a bunch of snow too. Unless a miracle driver shows up, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so that it is possible, but like, yeah. And yeah, so it was a good, I got in a fair amount of like first to review business pages that year, as well as reviewing businesses that already had business pages. And I did a pretty good job. It was a year of just figuring out how to write reviews and how to write like 1 or 2 page single spaced reviews. Yelp does have limitations on size. So like YouTube has a limit on the length of a video or size of a video and or size of a video. Yelp has a limit on the size of a review, which is 5,000 characters. So there's these platforms might say you can write as many reviews as you want, or there can be as many reviews as you want. Each review does have a size limit, a size maximum, kind of like on YouTube. You can upload as many videos as you want, but those videos got to be, you know, smaller and less long. Right? Okay, but like the size limit is like 12 hours, so that's not okay. Like on YouTube, so that's, I don't know. At least I view that as okay. That's a long video, at least for me. Where my longest one is like what, 22 minutes or something. So, it's that kind of thing of some people put a limit on, can only do so much, but it can be limitless in size, right? So there's different approaches to the size problem, so to speak. And so I actually did figure out, I think I maxed out at least one review that year. I started figuring out how to write longer reviews, but also not then go over the character count. And then what am I writing in those reviews? And so I got better on that, and which was kind of and figuring out hybrids. How do I approach the review for a place new? Like just walk right through what I did when I was there and what I saw, that kind of thing. Published pictures, but also okay, if I don't go back to a place and I want to write a review, how do I write that? Do I highlight a certain memory, or do I do I've been going there for 20 years, or that kind of thing, or a hybrid approach. I've been here a bunch in the past and I'm here now, so maybe do a little bit of a mix. Because and sometimes it's like I've been to a place before, and I just focus on my most recent visit, right? So instead of approaching every single review the same, being like, how do I diversify? And I think it's really great for dealing with, like, a lot of people struggle with that for insecurities of like, but I have to say I was there. Like, they have to know. It's like, sometimes it's like, I'm going to cut that off entirely. So no insecurity, and I need to keep going. Right. So there's been a bit of, I would say, internal transformation and growth, a lot in 2020, but just kind of since then as well. So that's a bit about my 2020 year. I was adventurous and really kind of initial just getting out there and experimenting with the writing and the photography and stuff like that. Seeing more of Washington State, stuff I'd already seen and stuff that was new to me. And I got to choose where I went. So, and I was thankful for the stimulus check from the Trump-Pence administration that helped fund my adventures. So that was a bit about the 2020 Yelp Elite Squad Badge / Yelp Elite Squad Member. And when that's like, there's a badge that shows up. Let me show. Here it is, the 2020. And that was the first year I got a Yelp Elite badge. Not the first year I wrote a Yelp review. My first year I wrote a Yelp review, I wrote 2013, I wrote and published 2 Yelp reviews. One of which I deleted later, and one of which I did a review update for. And I made this account I've been using in 2007. So I've been Yelping since 2007, but that Yelping can be consumption as well as production. And so I started the consumption before the production. The production started in 2013. But the first year I hit Elite was 2020. So that's a bit about that year. And the Yelp Elite badge is, I've said it with my 2021 and 2022 badges as well. I've filmed those videos first, but they might not be before this one in the awards and honors playlist, because I'm trying to do that by awarding date-ish. Anyway, attempting. and if it's messy, just figuring that out. That's why I said this one's kind of end of the year approach. So yeah, so like with that, I can sort by Yelp Elites, get a little emblem that shows up next to the review, like this person's active in that year and that kind of stuff. And there's the Yelp Elite events and stuff like that that Yelp puts on. So yeah, that's a bit about that honor.